let's get into the distance formula. So we just talked about the Pythagorean theorem, and the distance formula is derived from that Pythagorean theorem. So we're going to use a horizontal distance squared plus a vertical distance squared, and we're going to take the square root of it. Very similar to a squared plus b squared. So there's two versions that we can use this in. We can use it with an equation. Remember that this is x1 and y1, x2 and y2. I read from left to right, so the best way that I would answer that is from left to right. So d is equal to x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And the thing that we often forget most times is that all of that is being square rooted. So I'm going to simplify it by hand. Of course, at this point, you can all put it in your calculator at one time. So this is going to be negative 3 squared plus a negative 1 squared. That's 9 plus 1, and that's 10. And again, I don't draw in my square roots until the end, but my distance is the square root of 10. And so if we're talking about distance, we don't really know what the square root of 10 represents, so we're going to find that approximate. That's approximately 3.16. So you can use the distance formula just between 2 points. You can also use the distance formula on a graph. So if using a distance formula on the graph, you're going to have to find the point. So that's a point at 1, 0. And this is a point at 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Once you have those points, you can use that distance formula and say x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So that's 3 squared plus 2 squared. That's 9 plus 4, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's the square root of 13, which is going to be approximately 3.6. And if we're rounding to the hundredths, 6.1. Okay. Now, you can use that. Oops, oh, sorry. Scroll up for you. You can use this distance formula by pulling those points off the graph and following the formula in its entirety. The other way that I would do it is I would use the Pythagorean theorem, especially if it's in a graph. I would use the Pythagorean theorem. So I would create a right angle here, and this is down 2 and over 1, 2, 3. And so there's your 3 squared and your 2 squared, just from that horizontal and vertical distance. And you'll still end up here with your square root of 13. So you can finish these examples as practice, as well as page 28 and 29, all on distance formula practice.